My plan here is to demonstrate very quickly how you can use Photoshop in order to create hoaxes. To do that, what we're going to do is recreate an email hoax that has circulated through the internet. This is a copy that I've copied and pasted into Microsoft Word just to show you the hoax. And so you can see that what it appears to be is a shark leaping out of the water and attacking a helicopter, and it says that it looks like a picture taken from a Hollywood movie, but it's a real photo taken from the South African coast during a military exercise by the British Navy. Now, this hoax is actually made up from a number of different images. It's actually made from a photo of a helicopter. You can see in my little thumbnails here of the photos that I've got copies of. So it's actually, this is the original helicopter photo and this is the original shark breach photo. And so what we're going to do is take those photos and show you how the hoax was made. This is actually a photo of a helicopter hovering, I think, in front of the Golden Gate Bridge, and this is a photo that was taken of a shark breaching. Okay, so what we're going to first of all do is need to get those photos into Photoshop. So here's Photoshop open, and I'm simply going to drag and drop the helicopter in, so that will open in Photoshop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the shark, and rather than dropping it on top of that image, I don't want the two images in the same image just yet, I'm going to drag it up to the tab so that it will open as a separate tab there, so I can then switch between the two photos as I need to. So the first adjustment that needs to be made is to the helicopter. In our hoax, the helicopter is facing the other direction. So in order to change the direction, what we need to do is go to the image menu, come down to image rotation, and you'll see there's a number of different ways we can adjust the rotation of this image. What we want to do is flip the canvas horizontally. Vertically would mean flip it up and down, horizontally means left and right. So let's flip that horizontally, and we've now got our helicopter. Now what we need to do is take our shark and put that into this photo. In order to do that, come across to the breach photo and come up here to the selection tool. We're going to use the quick selection tool. You can see that some of these tools have a little arrow in the bottom right hand corner. If you click on that arrow, you can see that you can get access to the other tools that are under it. We're using the quick selection tool. You need to make sure you're using an appropriate brush size. So somewhere not too large. You can see if I go really large, I'm going to make too much selection here. So we want our selection brush to be about 10 to 15 pixels. Littler is fine as well. And then you simply click and draw over the top of the shark, and you can see as I'm clicking and drawing, it's adding areas to the selection. Now I'm going to get a bit of the splash as well, and a bit of the whitewash here as well. If you accidentally select too much, see how I've selected too much here, what you can do is you can come up to the selection toolbar, and you can see at the moment my selection tool is adding to the selection. If I want to remove a bit, I can simply choose the remove, and now when I draw, I'm removing some sections from my selection. So I'm going to get that back in, a little bit of whitewash there, and get rid of a little bit there, and now I'm going to have to add a little bit more. So play around with your selection until you're happy with it. And then what you'll do is you'll simply copy that selection, and we're going to paste it into our helicopter image. So to copy, we get our keyboard and go Control C. You can go up to Edit and choose Copy as well. And then we're going to go to our helicopter and we're going to paste. Now when this comes in, you'll see that the shark at the moment is way too large. So we're going to now need to use our tools to manipulate that to make it a bit smaller. So the easiest way to do that is to come up here to the Move tool on the left hand side, and when you select the Move tool, you'll see there's an option up here to show the selection tools. I think it's called on older versions, but this is actually giving you the handles around the outside of the shark, which means that we can hold down Shift and resize that smaller now, and then we can pick up the shark. Make sure you don't pick up one of the dots, but click and drag the shark down to the position you'd actually like them, and then once it's in position you can finalize any resizing. So mine's pretty good, so I'm going to leave it in that position. Once you're happy with the position, simply click the tick box. Then I'd like to show you your layers. So you can see over here we've got our layers palette. Oh, it's actually hiding under my face. Let's move my face out of the way. Here's our layers palette down the bottom. And so you can see at the moment we've got our background layer, which was the original helicopter, and then we've got layer 1, which has got our shark on it. And so at the moment we've got these two images on separate layers. If we move these layers around, whatever's on the top is going to be the most visible thing. So if I double click on the background here and promote it to a layer, now I can grab that and drag it, and you'll see it goes in front of the shark. So just make sure that you've got the order of your layers correct so that you've got the shark sitting on top of the helicopter. Okay, we're now happy with our shark. We just need to tidy up the edges. So at the moment it still looks a little bit dodgy where the two images haven't blended together. Now the easiest way to repair that is actually to use the eraser tool. So if you come over to the left and select the eraser tool, what we want to use this time is a slightly larger eraser, and we're going to have a soft eraser. So see how it's got a blurred edge, and then we're going to use the edge of this eraser tool just to tidy it up. So get a large, something about 50 pixels, and make the hardness about 25%. If you went very hard, then what it's going to do is have very solid edges. So we're going to get a blurry edge, or something about 25 to 30%. And then you simply just get your mouse, and see all I'm doing is simply clicking on areas where the blending hasn't happened, hasn't been nice, and that way I'm getting rid of, I'm erasing, softening up some of those edges. And so you can see by doing that, we're then able to make a more realistic image where the shark appears to be actually leaping out of the water rather than pasted on top of the water. So that's just using the erase tool. Hopefully that will help you to be able to create this. The final thing we need to do is actually save our image. So when we go to File, what we're going to do is choose our export, and you could just simply use the quick export as a PNG, which is then going to flatten that image down into a single layer, and that's something that you could email to your friends and say, look at this amazing photo that I captured over the weekend. Right, so let's export that as a PNG and save it as bad day 2, which is over the top of my previous bad day. And then we've got a new bad day 2. Where are we? There it is, which is our hoax email. And if we look at that in a normal image viewing program, then you can see we've got our hoax.